know this blind spot, and I found out what it is almost every single time. It ends up being two different things, two separate things that still have to do with the three parts of man. I found that people, and I had this happen in college. When I was in college, all the Greek scholars in the college, a lot of them were into this false doctrine where there's a major college, major Greek scholars that were talking about like the oneness of the human being, to where the soul and the spirit were really the same thing, which they aren't in the language, Greek language. There's three parts of man: there's spirit, soul, and body. Yeah. So the spirit is taken care of through the born again experience, but the soul, according to Paul, if you want to bring Paul into it, he said that it has to be transformed, that your mind has to be transformed. Yes. So if Peter talks about the saving of the soul, not the saving of the spirit. If he would say that, that's different than saving of the soul, which is your mind, will, and emotions. And this is what I found, that when you really, I listened to people for years, and I've nailed it down. When people do not distinguish between their emotions and their spirit, or their mind and their spirit, if they say, well, there's really no difference, or it's very indistinguishable, when I found that they adopt that, what happens is it starts to deteriorate the whole idea about free will and the ability. This is the second thing I found, is they don't believe that Satan, or an evil spirit, can influence a Christian and get into their emotions, because that really doesn't there's no space there, because it's really you can't have a Christian can't have a devil. Well, when you say that, are you talking about their spirit or their mind or will or emotions? Because you talk to Peter. Yeah. Peter not only was thinking wrong thoughts, he spoke them out. Jesus identified it as the devil himself, and spoke to Peter as though he wasn't there. He spoke to the devil. And Peter was not only a Christian, if you want to say, he was a disciple, he was a Bible school student, he was a minister, he was casting out devils. But he spoke as though Satan was speaking through him. And Jesus didn't distinguish Peter anymore. He heard Satan and addressed him. So that's one of the 12 that Jesus spent all night praying about before he chose him. Okay, Judas, the same thing. So what I found is that people that need healing in their bodies, sometimes it's because they have allowed it to start in their way that they believe, their mind and their will and their emotions, and then their way of thinking, or their lack thereof, that causes the entrance of Satan into their emotions and then into their body. So they're connected, and only the Word of God can actually slice and separate it. If you do not allow God to invade all of you, your body, your soul, and your spirit, you're going to always have these issues with trying to distinguish, okay, what do I need healing in? And what is this? Is this the devil, or is this just organic? And some of it is organic, some of it's biological. It's just things we eat. But the bottom line is, I always blame the devil anyway, because if he's in the area, he gets in trouble. Because Paul, and Luke, if you look at all the things that are said about healing, the devil was involved in some way. Yeah. So, I want to minister to the whole person. So I want to feed the poor. I want to feed them. I want to give them value in their soul, and I want to get them born again and spirit filled. So I want to minister to all. So Jesus fed the 5,000. He didn't just lay hands on the sick all day. He fed them. He ministered to their bodies. He even told the disciples, I'll finish up here, you guys get in the boat and cross, and I'll catch up with you. It says that he sent the people away. So he spent probably hours, because it was a 3-hour boat ride, and at the 9-hour mark, at the 3 a.m., they still hadn't crossed. So think about, it took 2 or 3 times longer. They still hadn't made it across yet. Okay, so he stayed there and he worked with them and loved on them. So he ministered to the sick and healing, he ministered to their bodies, and he stayed around. and turned off the lights and took the trash out, just like, yeah. So anyway, we have to minister to the whole person.